Probably money.
Ope just got handed a big envelope.
Oh, great. Thanks. I got to walk home, you know. Jesus. Well, Patrice was on Hannity and Combs talking about Kramer.
Yeah.
Our buddy Patrice.
Joining us now is stand-up comedian frequently heard on the Opie and Anthony radio show, Patrice O'Neill, and the comedian who performed prior to Michael Richards last Friday, Sully McCullough. Sully, what was going on there when you were there? Tell us what you saw.
I'm still trying to figure it out. It was ugly. You know, all the comics were upstairs watching, and then it took a turn for the worse. And I've seen comics bomb over the years, but that was something else.
What do you think he was thinking?
I think he was thinking, how can I stop myself from talking? Even an insult comic isn't going to say those things, you know what I mean? I think he just had an out-of-body experience and couldn't, you know, once it was done, he wished he could clean it up. I mean, everybody was shocked here. We didn't, you know, I've been here for a regular here for a while, and I've never seen anything like that.
Who's Sully?
What is he saying? Out-of-body experience. At least Patrice, like, puts it in terms people can understand.
Patrice is honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it. He didn't think anyone had a stupid video camera phone or whatever. And
Patrice is not outraged.
No.
He doesn't care.
No.
All right, here's Patrice weighing in. If you listen closely, you could hear Patrice tell Sully to shut the fuck up.
Oh, shut up. It's hysterical.
Patrice, we're looking at the apology here, and you're not too satisfied with that apology. You don't think that came from the heart?
No, he looked like a terrorist hostage, man. That dude, he didn't even, he's socially inept.
Well, what would he have to do at this point to... Can this all be fixed in any way?
No, the apology, I didn't think he was so bad until he apologized.
Why?
Look, man, when you mad on stage...
Maybe he needs to go on BET.
What'd you say? Shut up.
I said maybe he needs to go on BET.
Yeah, well, was it the venue where he apologized?
No, it was, look, first of all, we didn't see the whole tape. Second of all, when you're a comic, if somebody is annoying you, and the only thing you got to defend yourself against that anger is to call them what they are. Like if an Indian dude's heckling me, I'm just going to call him some type of goofy Indian word, but I'm not saying that word is goofy, but it's goofy in the mouth of Kramer.
Are you saying he should have said nothing?
He should have lied and said he was doing some kind of conceptual thing that he used to do on Friday. He's a goofy guy.
And that would have solved the problem.
But now we're having this is a racially charged situation because Cosmo, the dude that slides into Seinfeld's house, is now having us talk about race. And another thing about race, race has become a thing between you two guys, like where meaning the perceived racist and the perceived not. But to you just two white guys to me. You should let black people run racism. When Mel Gibson said what he said, when The Godfather said what he said, when we run it ourselves.
He is so right.
Yeah.
He's right. That's it. He's right.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is a nutty, insane rant. Come on.
All of you was sick. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things he could have said.
You're white.
Oh.
You're all racial. If white people don't admit
come on,
that they're racial, we can't have these conversations. Because you go, who, me? You never had that word in your head ever, Sean?
No. Do you have that word in your head? Do you use that on stage?
I use it when I wake up.
Is there a difference, though? I mean, why? Is there a line that you don't cross? For example, when he says that, I feel like I'm listening to Robert Byrd, a Klansman.
I want, and this is for real, I want white people to be able to say anything they want so that I can say anything I want. That word does not have the power it had in 1968.
You don't think?
Nope, because I want to be even more over the line if I can.
Do you really believe Sean Hannity's never thought that word?
Never thought the word.
Not even during a football game, somebody drops a pass? How can you not?
Of course.
People are just not honest.
They're not honest.
No one wants to be honest about race.
Honest.
White people aren't honest about race. That guy who wants to exterminate white people, you know what?
At least he's honest.
That guy's honest about race. You can't vilify people for being honest about race.
And he's right. Black people would be better off if all white people were dead.
Oh, boy. Ring that bell, please.
Oh, boy. That would have been a...
Oh, I have a doozy.
That's sure you did.
Oh, I had a doozy. Because I thought of what they'd be doing if all white people were dead.
Oh, boy.
And it may not be what a lot of people are thinking.
You better hit that again. Yep. All right. Thank you.
I'm not defending the dude. I'm saying that... Like, at least it's out. Like, just because you put it on a piece of paper and white people are now trying to socially edit themselves, it's still there.
People, no, I disagree. People don't think like that. People don't act like that.
Are you out your mind? Are you out out your mind.
God bless Patrice.
Yep.
A little bit of honesty there on Fox News Channel.
Yeah, because Sean Hannity has to play, a role.
Yeah.
Like anyone else.
That.
People don't
act like that.
Are you serious?
No.
Is you serious?
You think white people think like that?
Of course they do.
All people?
Not all, but you take polls. When you take polls, does that mean everybody?
Think like that, but
you
you ain't
said
supposed to pay to see
if 100 people, if 90 people say,
You know what I'm saying?
90 people don't think like that. Maybe 2 out of 100.
Are you
2
serious?
out of
Where are you
100.
doing your studies, Sean?
I don't know.
2 out of 100.
2 out of 100 would think like that at some point in their life.
Wow, that's
That's not true.
That's not being informed.
That's out of touch. That's 99% of white people think like that at one point or another in their life.
And just like the majority of black people think of it towards white people, towards Chinese.
Of course.
What do you think black people in the hood think when they're having a problem in the Korean deli or with the Chinese food? You fucking gook. They're not thinking, hey, excuse me, service person, industry worker, could you please? But they are thinking racist
And
immediately.
the Asians thinking racist because they're thinking the
Absolutely.
black person's going to be stealing something.
Yeah.
And they, it's the animal kingdom we live in.
It's not nice, but it's a
Sean
reality.
really thinks
It's a
only
reality.
2 out of 100.
2 out of 100.
It's got to be 98 out of 100.
Yeah, and you don't think it all the time. It just comes out in moments of anger like it does for
Right.
everyone else.
It's not like you're on a mission. Like he said, he felt like he was listening to a Klansman speech. They're on a mission. Their thought process is constantly devoted to that. They get up and give speeches, and that's different than every so often getting pissed off and dropping the A-bomb, especially to yourself. That happens a lot.
Yeah, but you can have racial awareness without going to that word. I mean, you can have
No, you don't just go. You don't. If you're cut off by a black guy in a car, you get cut off. I mean, where you almost kill yourself.
Right.
You don't think, hey, black gentleman, hey, you African man.
No,
you look at the color and the N-word pops right
if
into
he
your
has
fucking
a nicer
head.
car than me, absolutely.
And that too. It's probably stolen.
And if you don't think it,
oh my God!
and if you don't think it or you don't say it, it's because you make an effort to not think it. Like if you
now
feel
you're
your mind
trying.
going, it's.
But 98 out of 100 are thinking it.
Just
Come
because you
on.
know it's awful.
You're
It's like
thinking
if,
it.
Okay, so should you be commended for making the effort of not to go there?
No, it's not being honest with
it's
yourself.
just- I mean,
or
look, when
with
we have to make
human
efforts,
beings.
like you don't always call women a cunt when you get mad at your girlfriend. You might want. I'm sure you've all wanted to say cunt before. I never have, but I mean, I'm sure like everybody else has wanted to at one point, and you don't because you edit yourself, and you should edit yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a social etiquette we have.
Asking. You should edit.
You're supposed, of course you are. We don't, no one's
fine.
brutally honest. I mean, you know what I mean? If a cop pulls you over, you don't just go, you fucking pig. You want to because you're angry he pulled you over, but you don't.
You can't edit your own mind, though.
Yeah.
What pops into your head, if you try to edit that, you're just being dishonest with yourself.
Yeah, or you can scold yourself for it, but to say that never pops up.
Yeah.
Like, gee, I shouldn't
Like
think
Hannity
that.
saying the thought never came to his head. He's never had the word nigger come through his head and think, during some type of situation where it would. Where, I mean, he's being dishonest.
He listens to us every morning. Is he around? We should try to get him on.
Well, like when I heard about Daryl Littlejohn, I don't know if he's guilty or not, the black bouncer that apparently killed that girl. Again,
Right.
that's the allegations. That was the first thing I thought of. And had he been white and the girl been black, whatever the most awful racial thing a black guy could think of, that's the first thing he would have thought. I mean, it's just a reality. It's what we think of.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right, but it is what it is.
All right, let's go back to Patrice.
Where are you doing your studies, Sean?
I don't know
If some
people
white
like
guy
that.
heckled you, would you start using epithets against a white guy? Would you do that?
Here's what he did. That was the lowest. He lost because he went there. I have gone there before.
You have?
Of course I've gone there before. If a lady...
Okay, well, I've never gone there.
Who the hell is this Sully guy?
Oh, Sully, he's a comedian from L.A., and...
He never goes there. He's trying to pipe into this interview, and he's just getting pushed to pushed to the side.
Because it's like the Patrice is just being brutally honest about the way he feels. He's not trying to sugarcoat it or find a solution. He's just telling you the truth.
If a lady...
Okay, well, I've never gone there.
Of course!
If you go to how much money you have...
Hang on, Sully, go ahead.
If you go to how much money you have and how racist you are, then you've lost the game.
Are you racist then if you go
He did
there?
not have
I
control.
hope so.
You want to be racist?
Are you kidding me? I'll be so proud. Look, I'm mad at white people because you haven't told me how much fun it was all these years.
God, he brings the funny, man.
Here's the thing about Patrice. The same thing that makes him the fucking good comic that he is the same reason he has 2 friends.
Yeah.
No one likes him. Because that's how he is. He's completely
not like that honesty.
He's a very honest guy, and that's the truth what he was telling. And he was right. I mean, he was right, and he was telling the truth.
This clip could be pretty good.
You guys are
What do you mean, you guys?
White people, you know what I mean, Sean.
What does that mean, you white people?
Oh, my God. You can't have these arguments in
Patrice, did Michael Richards do you a favor to free you up to do what he does?
Michael Richards didn't do me a favor. He did his career injustice. And now, I'll tell you what y'all should fight for. Get rid of cell phones, because that's messing y'all up.
Isn't racism morally repugnant to you, or no?
Of course it is. But, okay, is it more morally repugnant to be it or morally repugnant to get both?
By the way, someone brings it up on instant feedback. Can't take credit for this. I bet you Sean Hannity's thinking the word right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Could you let me get a word in edgewise? You have an argument with Patrice. If you don't think it, there's something wrong with you.
Look, you mouthy.
Someone from their cell phone, they didn't leave their name on the instant feedback, but very good observation.
Yes, Patrice was being uppity.
More morally repugnant to be it or morally repugnant to get caught being it?
Oh, but I would say to be it. You are.
But just because someone says that you are not to be one and you can't frivolously be one anymore.
We'll be listening on Opie and Anthony.
Oh, Sean, you gonna cut me off like that? Oh.
Only 1 hour show. Thank you guys very much.
See you later.
Coming up, UCLA.
The masses putting you out of the house into the field.
Well, first of all, they should have after that dope attempted to say frivolous and tripped on it. Frivolous. I've never heard Patrice. I've known Patrice for 10 years, and I've never heard him say frivolously.
Frivolously.
That's a white person word, Patrice.
Yeah, stop it.
Black people don't say frivolously.
Redding from Whackbag. Yes, I did say Patrice brings the funny. Oh, I wanted that one back.
I believe you. I did hear you say it.
I wanted that one
and
back.
And it was either ignore it or bite him.
In a funny briefcase? Does he put it in a briefcase of comedy?
Opens it up.
I'm bringing the funny.
Here comes some funny.
I got the chips, the dip. What are you bringing?
As soon as I said it, not even a pause, I looked at all of you guys like, oh, shit.
That's right.
What an ass.
That happens.
Russ in Ohio. Russ?
Hey, Hannity's full of shit, I think. He used to be a construction worker, and I don't know a construction worker that's never dropped the N-bomb.
Oh, my God.
I think look, if
comes
Hannity,
right after hand me the hammer.
or you're late again. If Hannity's saying that most people don't walk around constantly thinking, like Michael Richards yelling nigger on stage, most people don't walk around thinking like that all the time. And if you have a moment with a black person where you're annoyed, you don't automatically go to that. I don't think that's, I mean, if he's saying that we don't all walk around thinking that, he's right, we don't. But in a moment like that, it's just the lowest, angriest point you can go to. Mentally, most of us go there, even though we don't want to.
Basic human nature to want to conquer, to want to come out victorious if you're in some kind of a situation. So even if it's just a thought situation, like I said, the cutting off or someone, getting into an argument with you, it's going to be in your head.
Intensely threatened situation is going to come out. If
it's going to be in your head. Like, and you always bring up the most morbid, horrible thing that could happen. Let's say, God forbid, something horrible happened to one of Sean's family members, and an African-American gentleman was the perpetrator. You don't think that word would at least come into your head, if not being blurted out every 3 seconds as loud as you could in your house?
It would be in the deposition.
Yeah, and in the courtroom and everywhere else. It's the way it is. Mm-hmm. We're just animals. We're people, human beings.
Yeah, but that stress level is a little bit. That stress level's a little bit different than the Late Show with the Laugh Factor.
No, it's not. Have you ever done it?
Yes, true.
I can't stand that room. They love that happy, fucking fun, high energy nonsense.
Those people put 6 shots into his act, and he saw it die in front of him. That was a loved one to him.
Let's go to Robert in Texas. Robert.
Hey, guys.
Hey, I wonder what side of the fence Robert's on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, come on. Anyway, a typical thought process. Spike Lee put out a movie back in the 80s, late 80s, Do the Right Thing. And for anybody to stand there and say that that's not honestly the way that our social commentary is, even nowadays, that they're living in a blind closet, honestly.
Well, I love Spike Lee, man. I think he's really honest. I mean, I like his movies.
It makes Italians look bad. his movies.
Good.
Puts them in an inaccurate, poor light. We don't run around saying those horrible words to each other when we're alone together as just Italians.
He makes a fucking great point. He paints Italians as a bunch of fucking hateful pizza makers, and that's why I love Spike Lee. Cops are all racist, and Italians are all fucking guinea pizza makers.
What I meant was they didn't put the word in enough for Italians.
He made them look too pleasant and accepting.
Dishonest.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Hannity.
Sean.
Hey.
Hi, Sean.
What's up?
You guys don't mind I stealing your guest, do you?
Not at all.
No, you got the plugs in. That's all we care about.
By the way, he was very funny. He was very entertaining.
Patrice is a riot.
We love Patrice.
You know, although I got to be honest, there was a moment there. You know, I was like, man, who cares? And I think the whole studio, like, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't give you the typical black guy answer. Patrice is very honest. He doesn't play like Sully to me was giving the typical answer, whereas Patrice was coming from a different angle, going, it didn't bother me. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I think Patrice was right. Some jackass from a sitcom had dirty talk, and the whole country's up in arms about it.
And a lot of black guys, especially the L.A. crowd, they don't want to face it honestly. And I think Patrice did a good job of interpreting what happened very honestly.
I think he really, in terms of just a pure debate, putting aside what view you're on, I think he smoked the other guy who was debating pretty good.
Oh, Sully stunk. Hey, Sean, your numbers seem way off. 2 out of 100?
What did you mean by that think like that? Did you we might misinterpret how you meant.
What was the quote? I forgot.
I believe Patrice O'Neill was saying that if you're white, that thought has at least crossed your mind at some point. Not the same type of tirade that Michael Richards had, but the thought, that racist thinking mindset, depending on what situation you're in, has come across at some point. And you at one point said, no, it's got to be more like 2 out of 100 people would think like that.
I don't know anybody that thinks like that. Honest, do people think in those terms? Are there people? Sure, but I think that's the small minority of people. Look, there's black on white racism, white on black racism. People think that, people say that, but look, it's not even politically. It's not acceptable, rightly so, in society anymore to be that way.
I'm just thinking this way: when Patrice asked you, have you ever thought that word? He put it right to you, and you said no. I think that's dishonest. I think at least in certain situations, just being a human being, and of course it has been rumored that Sean is superhuman, but being a human being, you're put in you're put in a certain situation where your basic primal animal instinct comes out, where you want to use the biggest weapon in your arsenal. And I'm not talking about blurting it out. I'm talking about you get cut off on the highway and an African-American gentleman almost put you into a wall. That thought, the word, didn't cross your mind ever?
My honest answer to you, and this is my honest answer, and maybe it goes through your mind, I don't think in those terms.
Do you drive to work?
I drive myself every day. Yeah.
All right, I got to say, because I'm just being honest, that when that happens, I will pull the worst possible thought will come to my head. If it's an Asian gentleman, I will use and I'm not yelling it out the window unless it's a cab driver.
If somebody cuts me off or somebody's being obnoxious, I might think you blankety, sort of the stuff that you guys say on XM every day.
Right.
And, I might think that, but I'm not thinking in racial terms.
It doesn't come to racial terms.
That race did that to me. I'm just thinking, somebody's a jerk.
So, how about, so what, you just used the word jerk?
Yeah, well, yeah.